Hello, everyone. Here we are for our Worthiness Matters 30-day joy-based spirituality workout. My name is Debbie Happy Cohen. I'm the founder of Joybased Living. And one of our members gave me a list of 30 questions a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, that I let sit for a little bit, and we made it the theme for this 30-day workout. I have 15 questions here. So if you have questions for me to answer and think about for the next 15 days after this is done, after these 15 are done, please send them to me. Um, Otherwise, I'll come up with questions. I'll make stuff up because that's what we do here. This is a workout on Worthiness Matters. The question for today is, how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? So be in your body right now. Place your attention on your breath, on your body as you hear that question. Don't just listen to it in your mind. I'm going to say it again. I'll say it a few times throughout today's conversation. How does worthiness lead to fulfillment? So, my first response to that question, my initial response to that question is worthiness is fulfillment. And then I'm like, man, that's going to sound so woo woo. So let's talk about it from the perspectives of past, present, and future. Joy based living means being good with where you are and comfortable in your own skin no matter what, no matter what's going on. Meaning, no matter what you're feeling, it's okay. No matter what you're experiencing, it's your experience, and that your job, your joy is to be present with yourself the way that you would be present with someone that you really love and care for. And I often bring up the metaphors of, imagine if you had like a very young baby in your arms or sleeping on the other side of the room, or if you had a puppy sleeping on the other side of the room, where there's no agenda, there's nothing to do for the child or the puppy, for the baby. It's just there, but just knowing that it's there gives you a sense of awe and reverence and wonder and wow. I mean, it's springtime, and so, I live in the country, and so there's baby cows and baby goats and just baby chicks, and there's something about that, and we feel the magic of life in those babyhood experiences. And joy-based living to me is remembering that that feeling state is true about ourselves at all times. That no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing, knowing that the baby is sleeping across the room or the puppy is sleeping on the other side of the room, that is fulfillment. I want you to think about that. Like, and I'm going to tell you a Oxford or whatever Google definition of fulfillment. So we'll approach it from a more practical standpoint too. But I want you to embrace mhm, embrace the invitation to the possibility, because I never feel like I want to. I was feeding a horse yesterday. We rescued a horse yesterday. And the woman was saying, shove it in his mouth like that so it doesn't eat your fingernail. It doesn't chew your fingers. You got to like kind of push it in his mouth. I don't like pushing food into people's mouths. I don't like pushing ideas into people's mouths. And people who do that end up like, creating a lot of comments and controversy. And I don't find that the best way to learn. I find that if you find a topic interesting and I put it on the table, you're going to eat your food. You're going to eat your own food. You're going to pick what you want from the table, take what you like and leave the rest. And so, um, how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? My feeling is that worthiness itself is its own fulfillment. And I think when I talk about past, future, present, that's going to make more sense. But let me go ahead and read the Google found definition of fulfillment: the achievement of something desired, promised, or predicted. is one definition. And then the other one is the meeting of a requirement or a condition, the fulfillment of such requirements. Or winning the championship was a fulfillment of a childhood dream. So there is a fulfillment. If you can experience the fulfillment of knowing your own worth, everything else all the other fulfillments on the outside can come from, can actually come from that healthy, full state of being, because you're not coming from a place of inner lack. You're coming from a place of inner knowing of your own worth, and you're coming from a place of inner fullness. The problem with not doing it that way is reading this definition, the achieve something desired. How does worthiness lead to fulfillment? I don't believe that you can have fulfillment without worthiness, because I remember when I finished writing Reach Your Stars and I had published it, and it was 2001, I think. And it was my first book. I had dreamed of this for like 7 years. I didn't know about the ideas of the contrast place and abundance ceilings. And the contrast place is when something really good happens and you feel like crap, because you actually get a shame storm inside of you and an abandonment storm inside of you. And joy ceilings are when you don't have enough self-esteem to take in all the joy that's coming your way and you sabotage. And I went through a couple of years of very serious depression after publishing that book. I sold the first run of 1,000 copies, and I love the book. But in that book, there's a 3-step thing. It's the I am formula for success. It's imagination, attitude, and motion. And it's true. It's all good information. I was aiming for like a real good fulfillment, reaching a lot of people and touching people's lives. And what I noticed is that when people had a strong enough sense of self-worth and self-esteem on the inside, that those ideas really gelled well for them. But if they didn't, the key piece in imagination, attitude, and motion, you can teach people imagination, you can teach people motion, take action, do these behavioral things. But the realm of attitude, I did not realize that at the time I was also dealing with complex PTSD. And that is like a very, very, very negative experience deep on the inside that took me until the last couple of years to be able to heal it, to recognize it and heal it. I'm very thankful for all the people on YouTube who put out so much great information, because it gave me a sense of getting a foothold on what I needed to do, because I had already done a lot of personal development. So I wasn't afraid of self-honesty. I wasn't afraid of doing that interior work and looking inside. It gave me a sense of, oh my gosh, okay, this was the shame storm inside of me went a lot deeper, and I needed to go into the deeper hole in the ground to heal that. So if you look at imagination, attitude, and motion, I was trying to cover up, without realizing it, um, that all of that pain with outer fulfillment and doing really good deeds in the world. And so no reason on the outside to feel bad about myself, right? Nothing on the outside. But I remember seeing a psychologist one time, and she was like, well, you have all the answers in your book. And it was like, I just felt so lonely in that moment, because she didn't realize how deep the pain was. At the time, CPTSD only became a thing. Um, Harvard psychologist Judith Herman wrote about it in 1995. And so I was needing help in like 2002 or something like that. And anyway, I'm going on about that because we're talking about worthiness. We're talking about fulfillment. Just because you have fulfillment on the outside doesn't mean that you have a sense of self-worth on the inside. And sometimes people chase fulfillment in order to cover up a lack of self-worth on the inside. And that's not joy-based living. Joy-based living is based on authenticity and honesty with yourself. So I told you we would talk about past, present, and future. I'm still adjusting my microphone here. Past, present, future. So we kind of just talked about the present. Because when we talk about the puppy on the other side of the room or the baby on the other side of the room, we're talking about feeling a sense of awe and reverence and wonder in the present moment, feeling the worthiness of that thing and feeling ourselves. It feels so good for us when we welcome that feeling, when we welcome things into our lives that invoke that feeling. we feel like the love that we are. That's why it feels so good. It feels like a homecoming because we are love, and love is big. And so we feel the bigness of our love in those moments. So that's present tense. Let's look at future tense because fulfillment really kind of automatically, the word kind of drives our mind to the future immediately. It's very easy to do that. So I was working on manifesting a dog a few years ago, like in maybe 2007 or so, 2006. And I had gotten myself a little picture of myself as a little girl, and I got myself some pictures of a little Cavalier puppy, King Charles Cavalier. They're really cute. They're like little princess dogs. You can put them in bags and take them to hotels. They're just adorable. And what I just kept doing, because I was not driving myself to have a puppy or a dog, I was letting myself infuse myself with the joy in the present moment of the experience of having a puppy. So it wasn't a driven goal. It was a joy in the moment every time I thought about it goal. And so what I would do is imagine the little 2-year old in me um feeling the joy of, "Oh my gosh, I have the cutest puppy in the whole wide world. I have the cutest puppy in the whole world." And I had not had a dog before then since I was, like, literally 2 years old. And so, like, it was, maybe a fulfillment of wanting to complete that experience of having a dog again. But I just kept saying, "I have the cutest puppy in the whole world." And a couple years later, a friend of mine was like, "I need to take you out to this really beautiful farm. There's a dog available there, and I think it's yours." And I was like, "I don't know." It was a big dog. It was a Great Pyrenees, and it was 8 weeks old. And they literally put him in my arms, and she said, "If you don't want him, you can say, you don't have to take him because it's a big commitment." But she was really kind of pushing the apple in my mouth there. But I tuned into my body and in that moment, and I was like, "Happy D." I wasn't Happy D at the time. I was like, "Deb, if there's any part of you that says no, I need to know now. If there's any part of me that says no, I need to know right now." And nothing in me said no. My entire life with that dog, 11 years, was that feeling. I have the cutest puppy in the whole world. And people would you know, come down the block to meet the dog. Like everybody loved Hero. He had like that feeling. He just exuded that around him. But okay, how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? I let myself feel the fulfillment of the joy of the future possibility in the present tense. And I just kept working that feeling just for the joy of it. I didn't try really hard. If I forgot to do it for a few weeks, I would forget to do it for a few weeks, then I go back to it. I did some research on Cavalier puppies and realized that was probably not a good choice for a first dog because they get sick and have all kinds of problems. Um, I manifested pristinely that exact experience. How does worthiness lead to fulfillment? So the worthiness on the inside gave me an exact vibrational match to what I had created on the outside in the form of a 150-pound dog. And so it's letting go of the details of how it's supposed to happen or exactly what it's supposed to look like because the feeling state matched. And when you vibe something that clearly and that strongly with that much joy, life is going to bring it to you somehow or another. You just have to like let yourself stay open. I could have said no, and there was nothing in me saying no. So that was one thing, and it wasn't always easy with him. I almost had to give him up at one point because he barked so much that I couldn't sleep and I couldn't meditate, and that's not a way to live. And then I got a behavior help trainer helper who was really wonderful. So, point is, how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? Worthiness created fulfillment, but I was creating it moment by moment. I wasn't looking for worthiness to exist out there after I already had the dog. The worthiness was the joy on the inside every time I felt that little 2-year-old in me with glee saying, "I have the cutest puppy in the whole wide world." Okay, now I told you we'd look at the past. How does worthiness lead to fulfillment? When we look to the past, what we're looking for is either memories that reinforce what we're good at and what we know and what we love, or we're looking for wisdom. We don't want to relive negative experiences and take ourselves down. If a negative experience from our memory shows up, maybe it's just wanting to be felt, or maybe there's some healing that's wanting to happen. One of the most beautiful things about complex PTSD is that it's the body's way of saying, hey, I protected you by storing all this inside when you couldn't handle it because you were too little to handle it. Come on, let's get this out. It's wanting to get rid of it. It's wanting to release it. And the body is so kind and so wise in its way of saying, I'll hold this for you. And that's just what it does until we go, okay, you don't have to do that anymore. We set it free. So how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? It takes worthiness to look inside and set ourselves free. It takes worthiness to look inside and go, I'm not going to overwhelm myself with all this, but if something comes up that's difficult, I'm going to either work on releasing it, or I'm going to get some help from someone else to help me release it so that I can let myself raise my own vibration, my own experience, my own sense of joy. Now, I don't believe, how does worthiness lead to fulfillment? I don't believe that worthiness means that you're supposed to be joyful all the time. Worthiness to me means you're supposed to be real as much as you can throughout your day, throughout your life, to be real with yourself, with your feelings, with your needs, and with your desires. And when you do that, fulfillment will come. You will experience fulfillment. It will come because it will be here right now, because worthiness is fulfillment. Worthiness is fulfillment. So thank you for being with me here on this journey in this workout of Worthiness Matters, because it does. See you tomorrow.